Welcome back to We Are Eternal, and the topic of today's video is going to be about sin. And joining me is a special guest, Mama Kitty. She's being especially clingy today, so she is going to be joining us on our video today. So, getting right into it. The definition of sin is an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. That's a dictionary definition of it. So, I'm going to talk about the 7 deadly sins to start off. 7 deadly sins and how the church violates every single one of them. So, the 7 deadly sins are not an aspect of the Bible. You won't find them anywhere in the Bible, but it is rooted in Christianity. So, the 7 deadly sins are named that because they are attributes that will ultimately lead to sin and self-destruction and all of this stuff. It'll lead to separation from God, basically, is how the church sees them. And the 7 deadly sins are pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. Now let's take a look at these 7 deadly sins and then take a look at the church and see if Christianity really practices what they preach. The first sin is pride. So church leaders believe that their doctrine and the Bible is infallible. Like, they think it's perfect. They think the Bible is a perfect word of God, and they think their doctrine that they developed over thousands of years is also perfect. They think there's absolutely nothing wrong with the institutions that they have in place. But Christianity is synonymous with corruption and all sorts of ethnic violations. Second sin is greed. So priests and pastors, they own these they own these expensive cars and in these big houses and in these really fancy neighborhoods, while their congregation members are struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, and still demand that they give 10% of their income to the church. That's greedy. The third sin is lust. I don't really have to say too much about this one. We all know priests have a very well-known reputation for sexual misconduct. Envy is the 4th deadly sin. A couple of examples of envy are the historical rivalries between Christianity and other religions, and the plagiarism of other cultures' holidays and traditions. And my personal belief is that the archetype of Jesus Christ was stolen by what would become the Christian church and used to serve as the cornerstone of the religion, which is an envy-driven action. Number 5 on the list is gluttony. 2 names come to mind when you think of gluttony: Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland are 2 of the names, but all those big, famous televangelists. They own private jets and big mansions and live these lavish lifestyles while their congregation lives in fucking poverty. Wrath is next on the list, and it is number 6. In the Crusades and the Inquisition, anger and wrath were justified as religious duties. A modern example of wrath would be during the LA wildfires earlier this year, where tens of thousands of people were displaced from their homes. 16,000 structures were destroyed, and about 30 people died. And what did Christians do? Christians took to the internet and praised the fire by saying, "He will not be mocked." So, according to extreme Christianity, people losing their homes and dying and losing their livelihoods was fair compensation for saying a bad word about their imaginary friend. Yeah, that's because that makes a lot of sense. That leads us to the 7th and final sin, sloth. So, an example of the church committing sloth is the failure to address corruption and the needs of poor and sick people. Also, Joel Osteen closing the doors to his mega church during natural disasters because he didn't want to clean up the mess after all the people came seeking refuge from the inclement weather. Not only did the church commit their 7 deadly sins, but they committed them in the worst way possible. You notice that hypocrisy is not on the list of sins. So now I'm going to talk about the history of sin, because I believe it's important to know the origins of these things, because whenever you look back, you realize that it didn't come from God. It came from the mind of men and adopted by religious institutions to further their agenda. So, sin began as the idea that humanity inherited their sinful nature from Adam and Eve, who ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In the 2nd century, Irenaeus of Lyons further developed the concept in a response to the rise of Gnosticism. Augustine of Hippo was the first one to use the word original sin and gave the doctrine its classic Western form. Augustine developed this concept as a result of Pelagius' teachings, which taught that humans were born innocent and they could choose good without divine grace. Augustine's views were eventually adopted by the Council of Carthage in 411 CE. So essentially, the church adopted the narrative that would give them the most power and control over the masses, effectively robbing them of their will and personal identity, so they will be unable to step into their own power and reach their fullest potential. So the church effectively robs the people of their sense of power and diverts it into their palace of lies and deception, all to satisfy their pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. Just like in the Matrix, humans are being harvested for their energy so it can feed the very machines that are holding them hostage. But it's time to take that red pill and break free of your bondage. It's time to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil so that you can become as gods. And that tree is as fruitful as ever, and it has many branches. One such branch is the Neogenian system. Instead of blindly following ideology using faith as its cornerstone, the Neogenian system uses the method of doubt, urging you to question any and all things using sound reason coupled with intuition to form a well-grounded conclusion based on a foundation of logic. If there is a logical fallacy found within the Neogenian system, the system itself takes that into account and adapts further to strengthen its integrity. Where the method of doubt destroys outdated religious ideologies, it strengthens the position of the Neogenian system. The Neogenian system is the people who understand its philosophy. So as the Neogenian system strengthens, so do the people. And together, we will build a better world for all to live and thrive and become the best version of humanity that we can possibly be. I know I was looking at my notes a lot during that. I tried to maintain eye contact with the camera, but these points were very important to me, so I wanted to really get it right. But yeah, thanks for watching another video, and I hope you got some from it. And if you did, hit like and hit subscribe and spread the word. So this is important stuff. People need to know it. And yeah, the more people wake up to this stuff, the better the world is going to be. And we are moving in the right direction. We just want to move a little bit faster is what we want to do. So if you're thinking about making videos, if you're thinking about getting the word out there, just do it. You know, I'm not a person that likes to put myself out there. Sorry about that. The camera got cut off. But I was going on a bit of a tangent. But like I was saying, I don't really put myself out there too much. But I feel like this information is important and it needs to be spread. So the more people spreading this information, the better. So I'm doing my part. So if you feel like you want to get started, make some videos, I mean, honestly, the first step is the most difficult, and I encourage everyone to just take that step. You know, but yeah, anyways, I'll stop talking, and thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.